Welcome back to 3-Star War Strategy. Your host, Name of the Lord, here with the next war tip, base building. I believe this might be the trickiest one out there. It's easy to talk about and difficult to do. It takes practice and it takes a lot of time to practice. So this is a tricky one. I'm going to give you some tips. There's a lot of good videos out there. But here's some tips. First of all, I tried to do a record where I just recorded doing a base build, and then I was going to just fast forward through it and talk over it. And it just takes too long to build it. So, first of all, obviously, you want your clan castle in the very center, difficult to lure. A lot of people know this. Make it tricky to do a lure, make it difficult, make them use troops or use a spell with no lure. That's key. Next, and very important, would be the queen. There are lots of opinions out there. I'm just going to give you two. One would be bury her in the center, make her difficult to get to. But I am of the opinion that you put her to one side and force your attacker to think that they need to come from that side to get to her. So if she's down here at the south, then they will most likely attack from here. Okay, so then you plan accordingly in these areas. Traps, high HP buildings, and whatnot. So we'll get into that. From there, with Laloon still a viable option, you do not want two air defenses in the area of the queen. If they're going to take out the queen, you do not want them to also get two air defenses. So preferably, you're going to have three air defenses easily away from the queen, and one generally closer, but maybe still not easy to get to. Obviously, this is just me throwing stuff on the map. This has to be played with you, and on top of that, there's no two bases that should look alike. If a base has been 3-starred on YouTube, I would recommend not using it. If you're gonna steal it, find a buried video. No one's gonna know where it is, and alter it slightly. But still, you have to practice building bases, or you're not gonna get better at it. From there, you also want to not wait on your sweepers. You want to generally have an idea of if they were going to take my queen and an air or two air defenses, what would it be? And most likely in this scenario, it's these two. So you would place your air sweepers in a direction or something similar to this. It is difficult to place the air sweepers, in my opinion, for two reasons. Number one, I don't like to place them this early. Number two, if you wait, they seem to be difficult to squeeze in. So remember that you have to find a comfort level with your air sweepers on when they go into your base build. The next thing is the town hall. I want you to know that for 2-star clans, they're going to want their town hall buried. And you can bury your town hall. That's not a problem. But it is, I believe, the highest HP building you have. And if you are a 3-star clan, it should not bother you if they get 2 stars. So having the building, the town hall as just a building and not a star mentally can prove very beneficial. For example, putting it down here in front of the queen might mean that they need to take the town hall before they get the queen, and the queen can snipe from there. And that town hall takes a very long time to shoot down, as well as other high HP buildings, such as storage units. Other high HP things, obviously expos and air defense units are high HP. The clan castle's high HP. Town hall and storage units, basically. And I wish they had an undo button on here, but I come from a computer world where undo is used often. From there, you want to, this will be there's a lot of different names out there, Dragonflower base or anti-3-star base, whatever you call it. The idea is to build compartments with 2 to 3 defenses in each compartment. Okay, you don't want to overload a compartment with too many defenses. You don't want to have just one defense in a compartment. For example, if you have this defense here, and it is surrounded, not only are you wasting space, but a jump spell in the middle of that will allow the defense, or will allow the attacker to get to all compartments around that. So you don't want to ever do that. Also, very key to this is, because you're setting up anti-La Lune, you also want to set up double giant bombs. And in your double giant bombs, there's some keys to that. Number one key is, in my opinion, is, again, opposite of the queen. You don't want them to come in to take out the queen and also trigger a double giant bomb. It makes no sense. So you're going to want your double giant bombs on the other side of your queen. And preferably buried a little bit. You don't want them easy to trigger with like a lure. They send in 5 hogs to take out one defense, trigger the double giant bomb, and get the lure. You don't want that. So preferably cord a little bit, or all the way. Again, this is just examples. I'm not sticking to my guns on any of this, and you'll see that stuff needs to move. Once you get building, you wanted this here. Oh wait, now it needs to move here. It does take time, but that's what the finish later is all about. Come back to it tomorrow. Touch it up, finesse it. The other thing I like to do personally is possibly like a wall. Let's see, where's the walls? A wall to separate the double giant bombs. All of a sudden they become less obvious, especially if on the other side of that wall is a Tesla. Now when they cross through here, now when they're scouting the base, it's less likely for them to envision a double giant bomb here because they don't see the defense here and a wall. But this brings up the second important part of the double giant bomb setup, is the pathing. And there's also pathing for the La Lune. But you don't ever want to put a defense on the long side of the double giant bomb. You don't want the hogs to come here, and then some go here and some go here. You want them all to go here. Okay, so with this here, now the defenses come in and they path here, or the hogs. Now the hogs path that way. So you have to be careful with what you're putting around your double giant bombs, here and here. This right here is already a bad, because you don't want your hogs to path here and then go here and not even go this way. So keep that in mind. Pathing is ultra important when building a base. It is probably second most important to where you put your queen, in my opinion, in your clan castle. So keep that in mind. Remember, 2 to 3 bases, 2 to 3 defenses per area. Also on the Laloon pathing, you see, for example, we'll just use this air defense out here. You'd never want unless you're trying to trick your opponent. I saw a really cool base last night, trick a guy, thinking, okay, very easy, send in 3 hogs, 4 hogs, take out this one, and get the lure, then kill the CC with your kill squad and get the second one, and then there's only 2 air defenses left, and then he had his blowers set up and traps all to those other air defenses. Unless you're doing something to that effect, you never want your air defense to be where you can drop balloons straight on to the air defense without them pathing somewhere else. The goal is going to be to have it so they have to drop the loons and then it paths to the AD. So in this scenario, this is a very nice scenario already, where they want to drop loons here, here, and here, per se, but it would be difficult because if you dropped loons here, here, and here, those loons would path to this, and you might even get a stray going here. And you could do something like a Tesla when talking about loon pathing to really tear them up, because they'll expect the loons to path here. They know they can't drop them here, so they wait till this is out. So they drop the loons here and wait for this to go down so they can drop one here, and they intend to drop it here. But what happens is this ends up taking these loons out quicker than they expected. The ones dropped here end up going here, and they get distracted, and it messes up their drop here, and it just ends up, so the pathing on this, it goes from their idea of here to here, and here, and then in. That was their idea for the pathing, and now it ends up looking something like here to here to here to here, and then by then these loons end up dying from the air defense, and the Tesla does work. And so you understand that that is, and the more defenses you can put in front of, the more work the loons have to do to get to the air defense. Remembering 2 to 3 defenses per cell Also, about the air defenses, typically it's good to have the air defenses overlapping, at least a couple of them. So if if a lava hound was dropped here, it would be fired on by this air defense and this air defense. That does some serious work on the hounds. The king, preferably other side of the queen. You don't want him next to the queen. A little bit buried is always okay. X bows always up, in my opinion. No reason to ever have them down. Mortars towards the outside, not the inside. It's good to anticipate. Oh, let's just talk about this for a second. Outside walls. If you have outside walls, it is nice to have wizards to shoot wall breakers. Also, the bombs, it's nice to have small bombs. If you think a wall breaker is going to be dropped here, the wall breakers, as long as you have a gap, one space between here, drops his 3 wall breakers in, and they will die before exploding the wall. So that goes twofold. Set those up where you think a wall breaker is going to be dropped, and also be careful when dropping your own. It's good to bring 4 wall breakers. Send a test in, then your 3. Let's see, what do we got? Queen. Another thing about the queen, you know they're attacking from this side. You're going to have a wall, something similar to this. You don't want, you want them to have to use a jump to get to your queen. A jump and or well, yeah, you want them to have to use jump, and you know they're coming this side, so you've already loaded up some HP buildings. Now you also want to booby trap it. I like to do 3 Teslas where I know they're coming, and then 1 for the double giant bomb. It can be used for the pathing, like I said, but load that sucker up. I like to see X-bows, both X-bows near the back of the queen. Again, sorry about that. Again, personal preference. Definitely don't have to be that way. As far as spring traps go, don't ever put them next to a wall unless you're anticipating a surgical hog. In the case of the surgical hog, I have seen these traps wreck surgical hogs. The purpose of the surgical hog is to, instead of dropping 2 streams of hogs that later may come together, you're dropping in 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 here, and the reason for that is so that when your hogs are pathing from defense to defense, you're not going to lose. There's a spring trap there, there's a spring trap there, you're not going to lose 3, 4 hogs per spring trap. You might only lose a couple with your surgical deployment. That's a very good tip Swedeman gave me the other day. On your surgical, you just don't lose as many to spring traps. Obviously, I've talked about how it helps with double giant bombs. But if the spring traps are like this, that deployment, if you are anticipating 3 hogs, and he has another spring there, he's going to wreck the surgical deployment. I've seen it on a base before. Now, it's very difficult to anticipate a surgical hog deployment unless you're in a war against a very solid 3-star clan. You're not going to see surgical, so it's better to have these between where two defenses where they're going to stop. So if this wall goes here and you have another defense here, you don't ever want to see traps there because the hogs will path right over them and stop here, and it will miss the bulk of them, might get one or two, so don't want to do that. Also, fake double giant bombs. You want them to think there's a double giant bomb here. You want them guessing in at least 3 or 4 places, and then still having this one they're not even considering. So test hogs have to come in, or they have to take multiple attempts at a base to figure out where the bombs are. All these things. Also, in my opinion, because this doesn't always prove true, you can put spring traps in there, but I would recommend not. If somebody attacks the base and they don't even get to your double giant bomb and to trigger them, they still don't know where the double giants are, and they didn't path over here, because if you drop a balloon in there and then a balloon comes out during an airstrike, and then the next guy is going to come in and hog the base, he knows there's not a double giant bomb there because this air mine flew out of there, and there can't be double giant bombs there anymore. So I don't like to put things in there. Personal preference again. Let's see, what am I missing? I wrote down all these notes, and then I left them at work. If you're anticipating a Laloon strike, and he's going to come in from this way to get your queen, take out this air defense, and then based on the way your air blowers are set up, he's going to work counterclockwise. This is just what I'm reading off of this current layout here. Then you're going to want to backload these last 2 air defenses with 2 on each, 2 of these air mines. And the reason for that is they do a lot of damage to the hounds, but if they do damage to the first hound, it's not as effective as the late hounds. The late hounds and or the almost dead hounds can wreck an attack. So this hound gets sent in from here and here. The loons are dropped and raged. That hound goes to here, and now he drops in the next hound from up top here. These may kill that first hound quicker than he anticipated. Now this air defense is shooting at his loons, and now his next hound comes in. He's got to send in that other hound, and then they come over here, and now he's only got 1 hound left. These bad boys put some serious damage on him. This Expo takes him out faster than his loons could get in there because of your sweet pathing, and it is toast for the Laloon attack. So that's why the air defenses, air blowers, and the mines and the pathing is all important, all of it. Skelly traps. Don't put the skelly trap so far out that it can be exposed with a lure, and don't put the skelly trap next to the queen to kind of eliminate that. You want them backside, buried a little bit. Some people like to do one air, one ground. Some like both air, some like both ground. That's personal preference. Mine are typically both ground, just because I feel like my bases are pretty well set up for anti-law loon, and currently surgical hogs is the best attack strat in my opinion, most used at least. So you want to do that. Clan Castle. Um, I'll just give you 4 good things to put in your Clan Castle. 2 Valks, 2 Valks, 2 Valks, 2 Loons, and a Whiz. The Valks do work, difficult to kill, allows the Loons to get there and do even more work. Number 2 would be a Hound. I've seen the Hounds doing a lot of work lately. Number 3, in my opinion, would be a Dragon, 2 Loons. And number 4 would be a Golem. Now, there's a couple things to this. Number 1, mix it up. Not everybody in the clan should have the same thing. Number 2, do not use all ground troops. Screw the witch. Quit using witches. And last of all, don't be afraid to do something different than what other people are doing. Try something new. Learn something different. Outside of the base, everybody has different opinions. Again, we're anti 3-star, so take advantage of a deep spread on your base, so that it takes that much longer for the loons to path all the way to this thing. Same with the hogs. Makes these things a little bit more key. Now they can be anywhere. If you're queen heavy over here and you want him to use a jump, I've seen this done. This is so sweet. But you're heavy on your buildings over here. Now remember, this is just an idea. This is not actually put into play. You don't have to use all your walls. You got an extra one, take advantage of it. Look how far out and how much stuff he has to go through and the type of funnel he's going to have to create based on this current idea. It's just an idea right now to get into that queen. But you don't want anything, you don't want any openings like this here. You don't even want them half that size. You want buildings basically all the way around, so that it's difficult to sneak things. You can't sneak anything in. All right. 2 whiz towers next to each other can be good on loons if they are behind. So the loons are not pathing straight to them. They can do work together. That's cool stuff. Seen that work. It's very important to know that you almost can't do all of this. You have to pick which ones you're going to do. For example, this 2 whiz effect, it took away the idea of having the wizard here taking out the wall breakers. The main points, like the queen and everything else I talked about, you can do all of that. You can't do everything I talked about with the Teslas because me personally, I'd like to see Tesla heavy over here where they're coming in for the queen. Make it difficult to get the queen. I think that's basically it. my base here would get wrecked as you see it. But play around with those ideas. Spend some time practicing. Test your bases out. You don't want them, obviously, you don't want them to be able to get threed by go wipe. That's very important. But also, a good law lunar needs to have a difficult time, in my opinion. It's time to step it up, especially at Dirty. I'd like to see the base building improve. I'd like to see more difficult bases, more attempts at making them, and difficult wars, seeing those bases hold up. So leave me comments, let me know what you think, remind me what I forgot, subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching, and God bless.